Okay, and we are live. Welcome to a new episode of All Things Xbox Podcast. Logan is back once again. Logan, how you doing this week?
Doing great, Jamie. It's another great day in the neighborhood. How about you?
Seasonal allergies, but there's tons of gaming news. We couldn't have a show last week because, you know what's funny? It's been a weird month because, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, Logan had family, coming in, which, understandable. The week after that, we had a show. The week after that, Logan had was it the wisdom tooth? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had another show, and then last week, YouTube in the UK on the creator side went completely down for about 2 days. So it's like a bit of an odd month. So yeah, if people were watching YouTube at home, you may have been completely fine. But if you're trying to post anything or live stream anything, oh my god, literally pages wouldn't load. I actually had a panic attack because it loaded up my channel's webpage and there were no videos there or podcasts. And I was thinking, what the hell has happened? And it was just an error, thank God. But it's all working now. It's been a long 2 weeks. We have, I'm not even joking, we have 21 topics. So that's going to be fun doing all the timestamps, but I'll try. Before we get into all that news and stuff, Logan, what have you been playing?
Well, I have a feeling one of my playlists is going to be one of the big topics this week, but
Oh, yeah.
Helldivers 2 has been a major thing. I have been spreading the power of democracy across the uncivilized universe and stomping out bugs and bringing peace and order to my new empire. It's been wonderful. It it's so much fun. Been playing that. Been playing a crime scene cleaner. I wrapped up the expansion, at least part of the nightmare mode, and then the true cleaner mode I'm almost done with. And then a few odds and ends of things. Been binging a lot of shows and stuff. How about you, man? What you been doing?
Before I get into what I've been playing, I actually started watching a new TV show, which you may have seen. It's called Severance.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I tend to watch action-based TV shows. Like maybe I have the attention span of a walnut, but that's just what I like. Um, and I start watching this show thinking I'm gonna be zoned out halfway through this episode. It's set in an office building. That's all I need more of in my life. So no, it is possibly one of the best TV shows I've ever watched. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and I'm only like first few episodes into the second season, but like wow. Um, but the games, man. I know before I get into all the games I've been playing, we had the first super chat today by Pyro Mad. Thank you very much for the £2. He says, question, is 280 hours in one game in a month excessive? I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask because I typically, unfortunately, I only get to play about 2 hours a day. The current state, health and crap. But I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. Maybe when I was like big into like Call of Duty back with Black Ops, I'm guessing I may have put those hours in, especially when that game came out. Black Ops was I sunk time into that. Logan, what about you? Do you think 280 hours in one game in 1 month is bad?
I don't know if I'd say bad. I'd be saying you've been hauling it
Yeah,
for sure, though.
yeah,
Um, like, man, 280 hours. Like that's like the time I would have like a complete Pokédex in one of the older Pokemon games and stuff like that over time. So, I mean, hey, if you feel all right, power to you. I was like, man, that is booking it.
yeah. I think that might actually be the time I've put in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 over the course of a year. So
Yeah.
it's not that bad. I've seen worse. Like, look, I always talk about my Grand Theft Auto Online addiction from back in the day. Like I say, 2013 and 2014 is back in the day because that was more than 10 years ago, which is scary. But no, GTA Online, I think and I'm gonna lowball it because it's probably probably a lot worse. I may have put like 500 hours, if possible, in a very short amount of time in that game because I was addicted to that game. GTA Online was all I thought about for like months after that came out. Uh, but you learn the hard way. Never touching that garbage again. Um, but yeah, been playing a bunch of Hard Space Shipbreaker, which funny enough I've put 190 hours into. That game is so addictive. It's great. I will never stop praising that game, and thankfully there's going to be more games set in that universe. I think it might be on sale at the minute. People have to check, but basically all you do is dismantle starships. That's literally it. There's a cool story. There's not really anything else I can say about it. Just it's fun. It's relaxing. I also got to play, and I was going to mention this during Boom Show earlier today, but I'll mention it now. So I've been talking about extraction games for quite a while, and how I've been wanting Escape from Tarkov on console, knowing that I'll never get that experience. I'll cry myself to sleep at night. And Delta Force Extraction is available on Xbox, so I gave it a go. Right, bear in mind this is my first proper extraction game. I'm not calling those other two terrible games extraction games. They're awful, but I finally got to try something that was similar to Escape from Tarkov on Xbox, and I'm happy to say, if you want Escape from Tarkov on Xbox, Delta Force Extraction is pretty much the closest thing you're gonna get. And I'm like, so this, I get it, because I love watching people play Escape from Tarkov, and I'm enjoying it. I get a few extractions, I get some loot, I get some cool weapons. I look at my stash thinking, wow, I've done maybe 2 or 3 extractions. I haven't seen any real players that I know of. And, I got some decent loot. So anyway, literally before last week's show, which we should have had, if it wasn't for the YouTube stuff, I went to do an extraction, got some cool guns, got a lot of loot, and there was a whole team, human team, ready and waiting at the nearest extraction point. Basically, they're farming other teams, and I raged. Like, if people could have heard me, oh my god, right? I've never raged so hard since the Call of Duty days when I was playing Black Ops all the time, right? So I was yelling at my teammates, like, do not go in this specific area, right, in this dam. Do not go there. So what did they do? They went there, got absolutely slaughtered, and I lost all my gear. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Maybe I just want to watch people play these games because I was stressed out, right? I was losing my breath. I was sweating. I'm like, I'm going to lose all my gear. And I realized, like, I'm playing an extraction game. I've been wanting to play a good extraction game. And if this is the experience I'm going to get from it, I don't think that's healthy. I think that stress may take a few years off my life. So I'm debating on whether to play the game again. Extraction games are risky. That's the whole point. But when you lose your stuff, I don't like it. Someone needs to stop that and get my stuff back. But yeah, they need to put solos in that game. The fact that it's 3v3 or whatever, three teams of 3 or whatever. No, we need solo modes. I'm not going up against teams of 3 when my other 2 teammates aren't listening and I'm shouting down a headset at what I assume are people. But yeah, Delta Force Extraction. I had fun with it. Will I go back to it? We'll see. I've been playing more Final Fantasy 16. The funny thing is, right, I don't know if you've seen these, Logan, but like most of my posts about Final Fantasy 16, they're fairly positive. I've said almost nothing bad about the game, but there's always people angry about that game. For some reason, Final Fantasy 16 angers people. And they don't like the fact it's action-based. They don't like the tone of it or anything. I keep getting told it's not a JRPG. But why is it not a JRPG? Is it because it's action-based? There's plenty of other action-based JRPGs. Because what do you do in a JRPG, really? You walk around, you explore, you talk to people, you battle enemies. Do you know what you do in this game? You walk around, you talk to people, you battle people, and that's it, right? So for some reason, people get angry about Final Fantasy 16, and I can't figure out why.
I have a theory about that, but
No, I want to hear.
Yeah, I think part of it is there's a faction of the Final Fantasy fan base who have, to be blunt, have been pretty butthurt since they went away from traditional, turn-based combat and stuff like that. And so, like, I like the old turn-based combat, but I also like modern and like some of the other stuff. Like I feel like Expedition 33 did the perfect job along with, something like Lost Odyssey
Yeah,
for like making turn-based more accessible and more invigorating than traditional. But, like I like both. I like those and I like, this type of combat in 16. So, but there are some people who are purist and are just not going to be happy until they fully go back to that, if they go back to that. And then there's also it was PlayStation associated for a while, and now it's, everywhere, and Square's going everywhere. And frankly, everybody's going everywhere, which we'll get to. But
yeah,
I think it's a combination of that.
yeah. I think you're right. I mean, look, Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite games of all time. That is very turn-based. Seven, the original Seven, very turn-based. Uh, but I came to this realization last night that people are complaining about these action-based Final Fantasy games, and I think it's perfectly fine for people to have a preference. Like, awesome. But it occurred to me, like, we've only had two action-based games in the mainline series. We're not including spin-offs. So, like, you've had 16 and 15 are both action-based. But people are acting like we've had, like, dozens of action-based games in the main series. And it's like, that's not the case. Um, we're going to get Final Fantasy Tactics, which is obviously turn-based. We're going to get apparently Final Fantasy IX Remake, which I 100% think is going to happen. Otherwise, Square Enix is just cruel. Like, making high polygon 3D renders just to make a new figurine. I don't believe that. Um, but yeah, Final Fantasy 16. I've been loving it. I'm clearly near the end of the game. I've still got the DLC to go, and honestly, if it came out this year, it would be in the game of the year conversation for me. Like, it really would. The things I have against Final Fantasy 16 are like minor nitpicks. Minor nitpicks. Like, the whole game has this either a blue or purple filter, and it's because this game, as far as I can tell, it uses real time global illumination. So, like, when you see clouds going over, like, in front of the sun, it actually affects what the world looks like. So a lot of the time, the game either looks purple or blue. But outside, and if you play on PC, you can disable that stuff. Thank God. But like on console, we can't. It's not like a major bad thing. I just think that for me personally, I think that as someone that posts screenshots on Twitter, that you can easily mess around with the color palette and tone of things. Well, I've color corrected Final Fantasy screenshots. I haven't posted them. And my God, this game goes from like, a 9 out of 10 looking game visually to a 10 out of 10 looking game just by removing this blue filter. But obviously that's a preference thing. You know, I'm I don't know what I'm going to rate this game when I'm done with it, because to me, I've had a 10 out of 10 experience so far. So we'll see. And I've also been playing Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I know, Logan, you haven't actually started it yet, right?
Correct. I have not.
My God.
I'm one of the laggers behind on it.
I mean, you're lucky. You get to go in fresh with 2.0. It's now 2.3 or something. All the added features, upgrades, and like, I'm 33 hours into this save, and I've maybe done about 10% of the main story. Like, the side content in that game,
That's impressive.
yeah, the side content in that game just dwarfs some games. Like, there's quests in this game that you just find by just passing random people, and they'll be better than some main quests in other RPGs. Like, absolutely excellent writing. Now, it does have its faults. Sometimes the world can feel empty. There aren't there's not enough traffic on the roads, which I think is a problem you get in most city-based games.
Hmm.
But like overall, I'm having an incredible experience with it. It's phenomenal. You know, the best way I can describe it is it's fully open world Deus Ex, which I know we're not going to get ever. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. It's been a hell of a week. Oh, I'll quickly talk about this because it's kind of a topic. Gears of War Reloaded. Logan, have you had a chance to play it?
I have not, but I'm pretty confident I know what I'm to
Yeah,
expect.
yeah. Uh, so for people that don't know, it came out what a week and a half ago or something. It is in fact Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which we knew already. It's 4K 60 Gears Ultimate Edition. The menu is literally the same. They've only changed the word at the top from saying Ultimate Edition to Reloaded. That's it. And you can view the credits from Ultimate Edition and the original individually. So, like, you know what you're getting into. It is a remaster of a remake, and it's Gears. It's fun. What can I say? It is nice playing that game at 60 frames and 4K. Because I've seen it on PC before that, and it's like, yeah, it looks great. We didn't have that on console. So yeah, if people have been putting off Gears for this long, definitely play it now. I've had literally no flaws with it. Now, apparently, there's been server problems, but I think that's because there's a lot of people trying to get online. And honestly, if it's people's first time playing a Gears game, they're going to have a blast playing this. It's good. Gears of War Ultimate Edition, I think, is a good blueprint for a one-to-one remake where they fix the slight problems with the original game. And another cool thing this game has, there's no loading screens in the campaign at all, which they said before launch, but I was wondering how's that going to play out because linear games aren't developed how people think. People think that these levels are connected in the engine, uh, but they're not. A lot of the time. So like when you leave one area and then a load screen happens, and then the next area loads in, there's not like a little magical corridor that we see. So the screen literally goes black for a millisecond, and then you're in the next area. Otherwise, they'd literally have to remake the game. But other than that, it's great. Like, you know what you're getting into. You're going to be able to get more achievements. I'll have to check, but I think there's actually more achievements in the campaign for this as opposed to Ultimate Edition. I could be wrong, but there's a lot of achievements for the campaign, which I love. I have no intention of ever playing the multiplayer again, because I played Ultimate Edition back in the day. Cool. Gears of War multiplayer has never been my bag. Never really. I play Gears of War 2 online a lot, but people rolling around doing that wall shotting thing, it's not for me. I could never really enjoy that. Logan, did you ever play Gears of War multiplayer back in the day?
Not really. The only mode I liked multiplayer was, like basically the onslaught, like hold off waves, or like they added it in like Gears 5, I think, or 4, the one where you go into the hive and
Oh yeah,
like hive busters basically. Like I like those, but the other modes I was never a real Gears multiplayer guy, except for co-op campaign. That was it. I
yeah,
always did that though.
yeah. I mean, it depends who they are. I'm kind of just done with multiplayer in general.
Hmm.
It's kind of a shame. That said, I still want Titanfall to come back. And if it does, I want that multiplayer to be literally a rip-off of the first game's multiplayer. Because that game, so much fun, and there's been nothing like it since. But anyway, that's what I've been playing. Again, we have like 20 topics to go through. It's going to be a long one. You know, Logan, you want to talk about this quickly? Actually, no, we've got a lot of time really. What's going on with Atari?
Oh, yeah, they had a couple interviews recently after Gamescom that I thought were fascinating and worth bringing up. They did one with VGC and then one with Game Industry Biz, where the new CEO of Atari, I can't remember his name, but he's been there a few years now, about 5 years. He basically has like restructured the organization, turned it around. Like they used to be kind of like they were trying all kinds of different stuff and nothing was really sticking.
Yeah,
They were kind of just like a logo people knew, but nobody really played their stuff anymore. And they were like a nostalgia hit, and that was it. And then he talked about how he came in and he's like, all right, we're instead of trying to do a one or something of all these different things, let's focus on being the best we can at one thing or two things and then go from there. And so they quickly decided, hey, we're really good at retro stuff. So they got Digital Eclipse and Night Dive, who were like the two best, or two of the very few top bests, remaster remake studios, and then talked about how wonderful they are at that and how they're expanding and they're going to start making new IPs and
thank God.
new games based on their old stuff, their old catalog, and the stuff that they've recently bought, such as Cold Fear and stuff like that. So I'm just really excited, and they're in a good place.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hype over Cold Fear, and
Oh, I am so excited.
yeah, I saw it, and like the funny thing is, I've never heard of it before, like at
It
all.
came out with Resident Evil 4 same time, and it's like Resident Evil at home, but
Yeah,
on a boat.
yeah,
But it was really good, but it was from a smaller studio. And if you're going up against the Titan of Resident Evil at the same month, you're kind of cooked.
yeah. I mean, I checked out some footage. Honestly, I thought it was like an early OG Xbox game, but hey, I'm all up for more games like that. You know, you, looking back, you really had to feel sorry for any game going up against RE4. Like, oof. Uh,
Yeah, an all timer. Yeah.
yeah, but hey, this is a good outlook for Atari. I don't know what they've been doing for the past, what, 30 years? 35 years? Like, I know they've put
You're
out,
not the only one.
yeah, they've put out these like tiny little HDMI consoles. I don't even think they're HDMI, but these tiny consoles you hook up to your TV. They came out with a console PC, I want to say 3 years ago, called the Atari VCS.
Mhm.
And I think the only major AAA game that someone got working on it or had official release for it, it might have been Cyberpunk. Um, I would love for Digital Foundry to actually do a video on that version because that's an interesting console that it wasn't just set up to fail; they just didn't try. It was a basically a low spec PC. It wasn't as powerful, as far as I know, as an Xbox One or PlayStation 4. I think the CPU might have been a little bit better, but like they didn't even try. They didn't market it. There was never new games coming to the system. And they have this habit of just like porting tons of old games and treating them as collections, which I think collections are fine. But like, I think people, and I think this new guy, I think he's going to do a good job. Like, we've been wanting new games and their IP for years. Like, why not? And they do own an IP which I would want to love, and that is called I Am Alive. My
Mhm.
God, right? When that was first announced at the Ubisoft E3 showcase, I want to say 2009. Uh, it was a cool concept. You're in Chicago, I think. No, it wasn't Chicago. San Francisco. Um, and there's a massive earthquake that destroys everything, and you're meant to actually survive in this open world environment. Well, the game went through a bunch of like you talk about game controversies that went through a bunch of different things. And when the game came out, it was an Xbox Live arcade title, and it was about 4 hours long. you know, it was nothing like what we originally thought it was going to be. But if they can come out with a brand new game, what that was originally meant to be, I'd be happy. Obviously, they're gonna have to get a ton of new developers on board, but we'll see. I mean, compared to what Atari's been doing for basically my whole life, we don't even know, what they've been up to. How are they still around? Is it just licensing? Is it all those random Atari T-shirts you find in stores? Like, the people just buying this nostalgia wear just fund the entire company? You know, like who knows what'll happen? But hey, it's a good look. And I didn't they get the Ubisoft IP? I think it's called Grow Home.
Yeah, they got Grow Home, Grow Up, Child of Eden, which was a really
Yeah,
cool Connect title,
yeah.
but you can also play with the controller, and Cold Fear. And then he talked further about those and basically like get those re-released as soon as possible onto modern devices and then look at remasters, remakes, sequels, DLCs, like getting them to more people with more content. And in a related interview at QuakeCon, Night Dive had hinted that one of the next things that they'll be up to is that they're going to work at creating some new content for some older stuff.
Ooh,
And then this just so happens where they get Cold Fear all of a sudden and some other stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that you're going to see Night Dive not only doing their remasters and remakes, but also going back and maybe making some new content or new iterations of some dormant IP as well.
yeah. I mean, it's Night Dive Studios. Like when it comes to like remaster studios and some of the stuff they've done is well, borderline remakes. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think do you know what's funny, right? This is a bit of a tangent. Um, I'm playing Warzone with one of my friends. Well, the only friend I play Warzone with, and he has an ROG Ally, the white one, that's been out a couple of years. And he's like, Jamie, I downloaded Batman Arkham Knight on this thing, and I start playing it. And I meant that scene at the beginning where you go into the cafes, that police officer. And he's like, this is better than almost any game I've played in the past 5 years. And it got me thinking, like, I was like, yeah, like one of the reasons why I talk about older games a lot is because they were better. Let's be honest. Like, gaming was better. Like, I have this nostalgia hype for the 360 because it was just a better time. More consistent releases that worked. Games didn't launch broken. You didn't have live service games launching every 5 seconds with a battle pass. Um, and, even though this was the Xbox One era, like games that generation, we had a bunch of good ones. But why am I getting to this? It's because, like, Night Dive Studios, they can bring back so many old games, and there's so many old games lost to time. Like, we aren't going to see backwards compatibility for a bunch of titles, but if we could see like companies like Night Dive Studios bring them back, all shiny and new, I'm all for it. Hell, I will keep remaster begging for the Chronicles of Riddick games to get remastered because those games still look good. My God, if people have a PC,
Definitely deserve it.
yeah, if people have a PC or they have a 360 with them downloaded or if they got them on disc, so just throw them up, right? The lighting, everything about those games still look good. It's crazy. Like one of them, by the way, how crazy is this? We talk about being nickeled and dimed all the time, and yeah, this is me ranting again. We talk about being nickeled and dimed all the time, but do you know Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena, came with a free remaster of Escape from Butcher Bay?
Yep, it was really cool.
Yeah,
360 bundle. Yep.
yeah, we had a free game just willy nilly given away with this game, right? Now you are told, hey, buy our $70 game or 80. We're gonna have day one DLC. We're gonna have battle passes. By the way, the skin that looks really cool on the back of the box, that's something you have to pay with, actual money. Remember how you used to unlock fighters in video games? Well, now they're gonna be on the disc and you're gonna have to pay for them later. Right? Maybe I'm sounding really bitter every podcast, but like the state of the industry just makes me really sour at the minute. Super sour. Um, I can't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Atari. I'm all over the place today. Um, Look, I hope we can see some really cool stuff from them. If we get new games, awesome. Remasters, awesome. My entire life, and I'm sure there's people in chat that could agree with me. I feel like the only thing Atari has done is come out once every year or two with a brand new little box you plug into your TV to play 50 games. Right? That's what Atari's been known for my lifetime. Right? Maybe you see
Yeah, they're trying to fix that.
yeah, maybe you go to a store like and you see like some T-shirts with some graphic designs on. You typically see Jack Daniels, that type of thing, but there's always an Atari one there. And most of these people wearing Atari T-shirts probably don't even know what it is, right? you know, so like for me, I'd love to see Atari be like a good publisher again. Uh, hell for the first time in my life, but hey, I wish them the best. Sometimes when CEOs speak, you just hear them talk numbers. Basically, the gums are flapping, right? But they're just talking about, return on investment. But it did seem like they were actually wanting to do something good in the gaming space, which, hey, it's good for me. Anyway, we'll move on. We actually have a bunch of like TV and slash movie news when it comes to video games. So Call of Duty is getting a movie made at Paramount. Now, I'll say this. I absolutely love those Transformers movies. Now, that might be controversial because, and I won't say this on Twitter, I like all of them. All of them. Even the fifth one, which I know is technically terrible, but I love them. Like, the fifth one it's bad, but I don't care. If we can get some Call of Duty, maybe some Michael
the Dark Moon one or Fallen something or
yeah, the fifth one.
I lost track.
Yeah,
there were so many.
The fifth one is the second Mark Wahlberg one called The Last Night. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I know it's bad. But I love that film. Yes, Mark Wahlberg's arm should have been, technically liquefied at the end of the movie, but I don't care. It's a fun film, and yeah. Anyway, I want to see Michael Bay make some Call of Duty goodness, right? Why not? People say Call of Duty is all about Michael Bay explosions anyway. Well, give the franchise to him. Right? He clearly gets explosions, so why not? But seriously, I think if we can get some really cool, even if it's something intense like a Black Hawk Down or something like that, like or 13 Hours. Like I think they could do something really cool with the Call of Duty IP. I mean, it's just sitting there. We don't see TV shows or anime based off them, so why not? I don't think it'll be based on something like Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3, but I think it's just going to be, military film, labeled Call of Duty. Lots of explosions. Which, I'm actually okay with, and I think that'll do pretty well. What do you think, Logan?
Yeah, that sounds pretty right to me. Like, the thing about Call of Duty is there's so many of different experiences that they've made. Like,
Yeah.
you can go the classifieds and like the Black Ops route. You can go straight up World War II thriller or World War One, or you can go to like way in the future Infinite Warfare if they want to do an expanse type thing. My guess is it's gonna be I don't know, stereotypical, but a tried and true military modern era film. Some conflict probably over in the Middle East or in Europe somewhere, and they'll just slap the Call of Duty logo on it and call it a day. That's kind of what I think is gonna happen.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually okay with that. Like as someone that mainly watches action movies, like I'm all for it. Just give me the action. And the next topic, which is also about an entertainment spin-off, and as people might be able to hear, my blood is currently boiling. So Splinter Cell. Yeah, we're there again. Splinter Cell is getting an anime or an animated show on Netflix now. I've been annoyed ever since this was announced because it's like, okay, we get Splinter Cell teasers in other video games. We get skins for Third Echelon in other games. And, we get a teaser for an animated show a couple of months ago. Cool. Where's the game? Where's my game? Nowhere to be seen, right? Which makes my blood boil, right? Because here I am, a peasant of a Splinter Cell fan, not having any Splinter Cell games at all. And Netflix put out this ad maybe about a week ago. It was just before last week's show was meant to go live, and I'm watching this 2-minute, Netflix animated ad, right? And I was so salty, oh salty, because I walked away from that thinking I need to watch this. So they got me. I'm going to be a hypocrite and watch this Netflix show because I like Splinter Cell. And I've got nothing else to do with my Splinter Cell time. So, yeah, thanks Ubisoft and Netflix. I'm going to watch it. I'm probably going to enjoy it because actually it looks really good. I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. That's what I am. I'm exhausted, boss. Because no split. Like, do you know what? One of the I apologize for people listening. I do seem to just pop off about Splinter Cell every week, but I need to. It's been 13 years since Splinter Cell Blacklist. 13 long years. Nothing but rumors. And oh my god, I did some, just out of sheer boredom, I did some searching on Twitter for my Splinter Cell posts. There's posts of me in 2017 talking about these Splinter Cell leaks. They didn't happen. Nothing ended up happening. The leaks that apparently led to nowhere, right? I've been deprived of Splinter Cell games, or anything remotely like Splinter Cell, for over a decade. Splinter Cell fans, they feel my pain. Rayman fans, they also get my pain. Although, we have some good news for them in a bit.
They have a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
right
we
now.
don't. Splinter Cell fans, we don't. We get an animated show. Cool. But yeah, it looks cool. It's the older Sam Fisher, which I think's cool. I think that comes out this month or next month. But yeah, it looks cool. I'm just annoyed that Ubisoft has Splinter Cell as one of their biggest, I want to say, it's one of the IPs they push the most in other games. X Defiant had a whole DLC bundle dedicated to all their franchises, but the one about Splinter Cell seemed to have more detail to them. There was more people running around wearing Splinter Cell skins. They clearly use that to sell other games, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Splinter Cell ship in Skull and Bones. That wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I want to check now to see if that's a thing. And if it is, I'm going to walk off a bridge in Minecraft. But yeah, anyway, Splinter Cell animated show. It looks good. Logan, did you check it out?
I haven't seen it yet, but Splinter Cell, I'll be there. That sounds good.
Yeah. Do you know, once we were originally going to get a Tom Hardy movie?
Oh, come on. They killed that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awful.
It officially got cancelled a while back, but that was in development hell. And Tom Hardy's IMDb for 6 years said Splinter Cell in production. Now, I knew this because I would check on a regular basis. Yes, I'm that sad. But yeah, it's not happening. That would have been an amazing project. Do you know the Division? The Division TV show at Netflix is still in production. That was announced in 2014.
That's surprising. I thought that died ages ago.
Still alive, apparently. Still alive. But hey, Splinter Cell fans, we get something. We get something. You know what? While we're talking about this stuff, we'll talk about the Rayman stuff. Rayman anniversary is around the corner, and the Twitter account came alive again. My God, people are happy. Fun fact, I didn't even know Rayman had a Twitter account. So yeah, you learn something new every day. So yeah, they're going to spend a bunch of time in a live stream telling us what the future is. There's some celebrations over at Rayman. Personally, I loved Rayman Legends. I think those musical levels are just wonderful. My God, what a joy. But yeah, Rayman fans are finally getting something. Finally. And it's been what? When did I was going to say Dragon Age Legends. I was going to say it again. Rayman Legends came out in, I think, 2013 or 2014. So it's been a while.
It was Xbox One PS4 launch.
Yeah. So it's been a while. Hey, I'm happy for them. I'm all up for a new, personally, I think Rayman needs to stick to the 2D format. I don't think 3D platforming is something what Rayman needs. Hell, I'm up for anything, Rayman. Logan, what do you think? Because this was actually really big news.
Yeah, I was happy to see this. I'm always glad to see, games from yesteryear come back with a new twist and get revived for more people to try. And Rayman was a really fun, kind of unique platformer and experience back in the day. I remember Rayman on N64 and you know PlayStation and GameCube and stuff, and like you said, Legends was really good. Like those rock guitar like solos and
Yeah.
like dragons in the background, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Like I loved Rayman Legends. It was really good. So, Ubisoft is getting some goodwill lately with the, selling those IP to Atari to get them back, resurrected, and then Rayman's coming back now. Supposedly it's a remake of the first one,
Oh yeah.
and then there's like potentially a Rayman 4 in development if that one goes well. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think that especially Rayman fans, like they finally have something to look forward to. Like, if Ubisoft did a live stream like this and just talk about it in advance, like the way they have, and then didn't announce a game, oof, like that would go down pretty bad. But hey, happy for them. I mean, God, Rayman was so fun. Like I can't remember what it was. I had a Rayman game on Game Boy Advance, and it felt so ahead of its time because the way the character moved, like the way his
Hmm.
like hands and feet float, just a fun game. But hey, we'll probably talk about that next week or whenever the live stream happens. Logan, you want to talk about this as well? There's a Gears of War movie update.
Yeah, they officially revealed like the writers, directors, and stuff. And I can't remember now who it was, but it was some big time names that were really good and had good credits to their names. So it just made me more hyped. Last week I would have remembered who it was. It's been a little while now, but it was really good signings, and so now they just got to announce a cast.
Yeah, I think that I'll quickly check because I'll be able to see it. Um, my God, some of these people have very similar names. It's not David Lynch, is it?
No, I believe he passed away years ago. He was on Twin
Yeah,
Peaks.
yeah. David Lynch. That's it. Uh,
Okay, yeah. That's close.
yeah, yeah. Close enough. But yeah, he directed a film that came out not long ago called My God. I've actually forgot the name. By the way, I'm running on like an hour's sleep. Right, The Fall Guy. Right, The Fall Guy came out last year.
Oh, yes, I love that movie.
Right,
So funny.
incredible film. For people who haven't watched it,
Didn't he do Bullet Train as
yeah,
well?
yeah, he did, and I loved that
Okay,
film.
yeah. I
The,
like this guy. Yeah.
yeah, I won't spoil it for people, but Bullet Train has this origin story for just a random object. For people that haven't watched it yet, please watch it. I think it's on Netflix. But yeah, he directed Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, John Wick 1, and Nobody 2. So honestly, I think that's actually a good guy to do a Gears movie. Fall Guy
Hmm.
alone, like he knows how to do action and practical effects. Um, and plus, like you work on John Wick 1 that started this huge franchise, right? Like Keanu Reeves turned 61, right? Or 60 or something. Like he wants to do these for as long as he lives, right? And that all started with this movie. So, hey, I think look, when a video game project is announced for Netflix, my immediate reaction is, oh no. Because look, they get anime, right? They really do. They get a lot of TV shows. But I can't sit here and say that I've seen a bunch of Netflix movies I'd say I'd recommend to people. You know, I'm a movie guy. I watch a single movie every single night. And I can say that maybe there's I can count on one hand films I'd say that are either good to great. from Netflix.
There's one I can think of. The Ritual is like maybe
Yeah,
one of the few that was like a Netflix exclusive film that was incredible. And that's like a really, really like Lovecraftian spooky horror film. But other than that, not too many films that are exclusive.
yeah. Like if the news was a TV show, I'd be like, now we're talking, because they actually know how to do really good TV. But hey, it's David Lech. I think they're going to do a good job with this, and I'll give it a chance. I think it's a while off. It's in pre-production right now, but hey, good news for Gears. And isn't that also getting an animated show as well?
Yes, it is also getting an anime. Yes.
Yeah, which I'm sure that'll be good. I've seen a bunch
Oh,
of.
the blood will pop in that.
Oh
I
yeah,
can just already visualize that. Like Locust, Japanese style with, lancers and, the big eyes. Like I can totally see Gears as an anime, 100%.
yeah. I mean, do you know what's funny, right? Uh, Over 50% of the people that watch Netflix in the UK watch anime.
Yeah, that's a big
Yeah,
stat.
huge. Like anime now is like a mainstream thing. Mainstream. And if you go back 10 years ago, like when I was a kid, nobody watched anime. Like I
Oh,
watched,
it was very niche.
yeah, niche as hell. Like I watched the Pokemon show when it was on, and I think I watched some Ghost in the Shell, but that's it. Obviously, if you live in the UK, there's next to nowhere to watch anime, at least on television at the time. But hey, this is good news. Hopefully it comes out soon. And if they don't get Dave Bautista as Marcus Phoenix, like, what are they doing? Right? You have a guy there that not only looks the part, but also wants to play the part. Like,
He's a good actor.
yeah, he's a good actor. People always talk about who's better, John Cena or The Rock as an actor. No, 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 no. It's Dave Bautista. Like his role in Blade Runner 2049 alone, ST actor. Put it that way.
Yeah, it was haunting.
Yeah, and if people have seen Blade Runner 2049 and haven't seen the mini film, because there's 3 short films on YouTube, which I don't know why they did it that way. They should have put them in the movie. But like, there's a 5-minute like part of that movie which should have been in the movie. It's on YouTube, which you can watch for free. And yeah, it's like his character is incredible. And it's like it's his shot is from the beginning of the movie, and it just sticks with you throughout the whole thing. Um, but yeah, that's Gears. Hopefully, we see more soon. And I'm guessing that maybe this will be something we'll see at like in a Game Awards trailer or something, because we do tend to see these, TV shows at Jeff Keighley's things. Which hey, I'm all down for. Now, speaking of good news, and this is very good news, especially to people that are now on Xbox Game Pass. Assassin's Creed Mirage came out in I think 2023, and in my opinion, it has a very bland story. But you do not play that game for the story. You play it for its bloody good gameplay. Assassin's Creed Mirage is I want to say it's a 25 or 20-hour game. There's no bloat at all, and it's basically like how the old Assassin's Creed games used to play. It got better and better over time with updates. They even put in features about 2 months after launch, which people thought they wouldn't put in, which were movement based. And it's a solid game, absolutely solid game, no bloat whatsoever. Well, anyway, it got put on Game Pass about a month ago, which is great. I'm happy that more people get to experience it. But even better, and this absolutely floored me because I didn't see it coming. I don't think anyone saw it coming. Randomly later this year, Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to get a new expansion for free. Didn't see that coming. A game they specifically said will never get DLC, and here we are 2 years later getting an expansion for free. It's going to be in a new location with the same character, with a new storyline. I was shocked, not gonna lie. So this is Ubisoft getting some really goodwill on an Assassin's Creed game. I think a lot of people really like. So for me, I'm happy. It's a good game. People have Game Pass especially. Download it now, play it. Again, it's like 20 hours long. Logan, what do you think? Because you didn't get to Mirage yet, right?
I have not. I do have it. I picked it up on sale, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, good game. I mean, people diss the game story, but you don't play that for the story. You know, the first Assassin's Creed game, you play it to take out targets, but the gameplay in that game was terrible. In this, you have targets to take out, and you have excellent gameplay. So it's worth that alone. And plus, you can get all the achievements fairly easily in one sitting. Well, one sitting, one playthrough. But yeah, that's Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft, and apparently, and I'll have to double check this. Ubisoft may have moved because I've been talking about this for about a year now. That the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake will come out this November. I've been holding to the November thing. Apparently, that's not happening now. Apparently, it may have been moved to next year. Uh, with the current state of things, that won't surprise me. Ubisoft is all over the place. They're changing developers all over the time. Sorry, all the time. Um, they've been laying off a lot of people. I think they need to start releasing games consistently at a high quality because for a while games did dip in quality. Assassin's Creed Shadows looks gorgeous, but like before that we would have buggy games. Well, hell, next year I think it's going to be fine for it. I think 2 Assassin's Creed games in 1 year might be a bit much. It's not the best way to do it, in my opinion. And speaking of Ubisoft stuff, Logan, did you got to play Star Wars Outlaws, right?
I actually haven't yet.
Oh wow.
Like I said, my backlog is like the Library of Alexandria, but I do intend to play it.
So about yesterday, I think it was yesterday, Star Wars Outlaws hit its 1 year anniversary. And in that time, it's had a bunch of updates, new gameplay features added. Many there's a lot of bugs being fixed, but also it's had 2 story expansions. And there's been this huge outcry I've noticed over the past week that people want a sequel. Now, will Ubisoft, buy into this hype? I'm hoping so. They have a good format for a video game there. If you want a triple A Star Wars game, a third person game, we don't really have many to choose from. You have the Jedi Fallen Order games, which are great, and you have this. I literally can't think of anything else. In recent memory, anyway. And I'm thinking, Ubisoft did cancel plans for the sequel, which it was in pre-production. But I'm thinking, like, if they get enough sales off the Switch version, which comes out this month, I believe, and the sales do, go up a bit because there's been a lot of fan hype. I think Star Wars Outlaws is going to become one of those. I don't want to say cult classic games, but I think a lot of people over time are going to realize like there's a really good game there. It has some issues, but then again, all games have them. Honestly, I'd love to see them do a sequel. They can carry on with the main character story, or they could do someone else. They don't even have to do a smuggling game. They could just do a new third-person Star Wars game. I think, I want to see Ubisoft make more Star Wars games. They are essentially the Assassin's Creed studio. And while I like Assassin's Creed, I need to see more from them. So, in my opinion, I hope Ubisoft pays attention. Hopefully the Switch version does well. And yeah, we'll see more Star Wars games from them. But, Logan, do you think we'll actually see more Star Wars games from Ubisoft?
I think that they're a good fit for it. They certainly have the manpower and the bandwidth to do one. It's just a matter of, getting the right vision and team together to execute properly, which, has not been Ubisoft's strength lately, but I their talent is there and I like their ideas. So I think they could do a good Star Wars game. It's just I don't know. To be seen in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Switch version comes out. I really do think it's this month. I think they're going to have a decent amount of success with it because the Jedi Fallen games, they aren't on Switch as far as I know. The first one. So if you want like a big budget Star Wars game on a Switch 2, like this is going to be it. So if the Switch fan base is listening out there, go nuts. Right, there's a solid game there, really is. Um, Plus sneaking around, an Imperial space station, like taking out stormtroopers and stuff. That is genuinely cool stuff. Flying around from planet to planet. I mean, I can't. It's so good. Anyway, we'll move on. Logan, you want to talk about this because I think it's actually a good topic, which we tend to talk about a lot, and I think it's actually an industry thing at the minute, and that is Team Cherry's pricing.
Yeah, this came out the other day. Like there was a leak, a rumor about what the price of Silk Song is going to be, because everybody and their dog is waiting for the game to come out on the 4th, and the first one was Masterclass Metroidvania, phenomenal game. People have been waiting like a near decade at this point for the sequel, and it's finally coming out. And so, people were a little tentative about the price. They were like, I don't know what they're going to price it, because, the industry is trending towards, these bloated budgets and these huge asking prices for an initial fee to jump into a game. Like, there's the audacious speculation that GTA is going to hit 100,
Yeah.
like, just it launching. Like, and people seem perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I
Like
hate
some
that.
people, like it blows my mind. It's like I like GTA. It's fun. It's fun for an evening. I like the story, the gameplay. It's hilarious, whatever. But $100, buddy. Like I'll see you in a few months when
Yeah.
it's on sale at some point, because I can wait that out. But yeah, it comes out that it's just gonna be $20, which is like a $5 like upgrade from like what it was from the first one was when it came out, was like 14.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, $20 for a game that's going to presumably be on everybody's game of the year shortlist, and is going to be a game of the generation lister. It's going to be phenomenal. And this team, turns out it wasn't in development hell. They were just having so daggone much fun making it. They just kept adding more and more and more. And it's a small team, and they're like, we can do it, and we'll give the fans something they deserve and that we want to make. So this is 100% a game you want to support, and support small studios who do great stuff, great craft work, and it goes against their AAA gluttonous greed and corruption that's been going on, and bland sameness. Like, we're finally. I love it when I see a studio go against the. You remember back when it felt like all the action and adventure games had that urine filter,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they just all look bloody the same. Like they even referenced that, like somebody referenced that the other day, but it I'm just glad to see studios going against that, and it makes me want to support them even more. So $20 for a game that's going to give you an unseemly amount of time to play, tons of content, and high quality. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. You mentioned the urine filter. I don't even know what developers were thinking with that. Like every game
It
from
was just so weird.
yeah,
It's like unless you're looking through a haze or a beer glass or something, like the environments don't look this way.
yeah. Like I don't know what they were thinking. Like I think it was like what 2009 to 2013. Just everything had this yellow thing. I don't. I'm gonna have to see if I can get in contact with a developer that worked on one of those games, because like there has to be a reason. Like let's make it look like someone peed everywhere, right?
I
Yeah,
mean, it was every major game that
yeah,
was in some adventure or something, and it was just like, "Oh, look at these rocks, but they're yellow brown," or something. I don't know.
yeah. Like Gears of War 3. Like everyone was like, this game looks amazing, and all I could think was like, it does, but why is it yellow? Oh, it never made sense. But yeah, I mean, look, And plus, didn't the developers of from Team Cherry say that it's priced 19.99 so they can get out to as many people as possible?
Yeah, they're thinking big picture.
Yeah, and it's funny, like I made a post about this on Twitter. Like, there's so many people that we get nickeled and dimed all the time. We get we get told that, hey, you should pay $80 for a video game. You should pay $100 and want to pay $100 for GTA. You should pay for battle passes and premium games. That still makes my blood boil, by the way. You know,
We
expensive.
need to tip devs
Yeah,
too.
oh, the
You
tip
can't
devs
forget
thing.
that one.
That was awful. That tip devs. I've just paid them. What the hell? Like, it's not. Like, I know tipping culture isn't really a thing in the UK, but like in the US, if you tip someone that's just like bought you a drink or something, that person didn't literally make the drink from scratch, right? Developers, they are getting paid. Yes, they're going through a publisher, but it's just stupid, man. Like that tipping thing is possibly one of the most dumbest things I've ever heard in the gaming space, which is saying a lot because I'm basically perpetually online and I say a lot of dumb stuff. Um, but we told that we should be paying more all the time, just more, more, more. And my question is, like, we get told that we should pay more, but we aren't being shown anything extra for that money. We're just
Or
oh
worth it.
yeah, we're not seeing anything worth it. Developers can't control, I should say, publishers. They can't manage their budgets properly, right? But we just expected to pay it, just because they want these games to look super pretty realistic with ray tracing. Forget performance. Screw you guys. Just because. And developers this year that have put out cheaper games, one of the major things people talk about is like, wow, that's a good price. Mafia: The Old Country. I think in the UK that is $49.99. I think that's a fair price. Big budget single player AAA third person game, 12 hours long. I'm perfectly fine with. Oblivion Remastered. I believe that's $39.99 in the UK, which is
Great price.
great price. And Expedition 33, I believe, was £49 in the UK. Again, bloody good price. And some people have went off of this online saying, developers need to make the money back. Like, I guarantee there will be a hell of a lot more people selling these games and buying them if they just made the price cheaper, right? So, like, I'm trying to think of a AAA game that's recent. Like, look at Metal Gear Solid, right?
Immortals of Avon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Best
That
example.
one failed
Yeah.
dramatically because brand new IP, nobody had heard of it or the studio, and they tried a $70 plus price, and it failed spectacularly. But it was a good game.
Yeah. They had a really cool game there, and it was $70, and like nobody paid attention to it because, like, why should they? Why should you go out and spend $70 on this first-person magic shooter which nobody knew about? Like, that game should have been $49.99, right? If anything, maybe $39 because it was really experimental. And like, we've seen this time and time again. Going on a tangent, but it's still relevant. Like, how many times have we heard this generation that there's this new studio that came out with a brand new game, and it's a new IP, and it's got photorealistic graphics, and by the way, it's full price $60 or $70, right? Whether they're good games or not is not the question. It's the fact that we're seeing these bloated prices for new IP. That's why we're not seeing much like risk in new IP or people going out to buy new IP. It's because of the bloody price, right? So, like, you mentioned that, and there's also the Callisto Protocol. I think it was like $140 million game. Like, what were they thinking? Oh, by the way, this is our new team, our new studio, and our first game is $140 million. I'm sorry, like, but they had to be crazy doing that. Crazy. And I think in the UK that was a full price title. So I don't know what's going on in a lot of these publishers' minds, but yeah. And look, Metal Gear Solid Delta is an exceptional remake, right? 1-to-1 remake. And I talk about Metal Gear Solid all the time. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the best games ever made, right? Top 10 for me. And when I saw the price of that game a couple of months ago, I literally put my hands over my face because I'm like, this is not going to do well. Like, I would be shocked if it does, because $70 for that game, I think's too much, right? We've all played Metal Gear Solid 5, and yes, it looks gorgeous. It's got Unreal Engine 5 remake written all over it. It's beautiful. Great performance. Well, on Xbox, it's got great performance. And, like, as a game, as a package, like, if you go into replay or play for the first time, Metal Gear Solid 3, that will be the way to do it, right? The added content, right? Each platform has its own different thing. There's going to be an online mode coming later this year, but $70 is a bit much. And £70 is a bit much for that game. So, like, developers and publishers, they really need to look at, right, look, if we sell this game day one, Square Enix has been a victim of this as well. Like, if you sell a game day one for $70, you're going to maximize, air quotes, maximize the amount of revenue you get that same day, right? But every single time I've seen a game released cheaper, it's done better, right? I've talked about this before, but I have to mention it. Death Stranding, it got memed for years because you play it as a dude that carries boxes. DoorDash the simulator, right? And guess what? When it came out, it's £17. £17. It made more money that week than FIFA on an Xbox in the UK. Do you know how crazy that is? FIFA prints money in the UK, and I'm calling it FIFA. I'm not calling it EA Sports 15 or 2015 or whatever it's called, 25. I don't even know what year I'm in at the minute. My point is that, like, we've been nickeled and dimed all the time. Games cost way too much. And you have an indie developer come out and say, like, look, we've took our time making it. We want a lot of people to play it. All good stuff. But, like, the arrogance you see from some developers, and I'll say it mainly publishers, they'll come out there and say, we are exploring, maybe raising the price of our games for whatever reason. They keep blaming tariffs, by the way. I've noticed all these people are blaming tariffs. Tariffs aren't the reason these prices have gone up. Like,
they've been doing this for years before this administration even took place.
Years. And like as a British person, why am I looking at, like, hey, this Japanese product manufactured in China gets a price raise in the UK? Nobody's told me yet. Nobody can tell me. And, I should be paying more for video games even though I'm not getting anything more. If anything, I might get a broken game at launch that they fix later if I'm lucky. And clearly I'm I'm sour, but, like, I'm sick and tired of, like, us gamers just being told on a weekly basis that we should be paying more. And that's why people go out and praise these developers pricing their games the correct way, talking to the fan base the correct way. One of the big things I've seen developers do and publishers do this generation is where they talk down to their fan base. They act like you're just a number, and that's always sat really wrong with me, right? As someone that covers gaming on this channel, you'll notice that there's some games I'll just outright refuse to cover if they've spoke about, gamers a specific way, because we're the one that funded their games. So at the end of the day, at least be polite. There's ways to go about things. That's my point. But hey, and look, people can say it only costs $20 because Silksong is an indie game. I don't care, right? It's not about that. It's the principle of it, right? People are saying they could have went out and charged $50 for Silksong, right? Maybe they could have, because of the amount of fans, the amount of people have been waiting for it. Hell, it's arguably the most anticipated game this year, in general, right? It's probably going to win Game of the Year. Sorry, what did you say?
I was saying, but they didn't charge that much. They
exactly.
added vision.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't charge that. It's probably going to win Game of the Year in a bunch of different categories, like, best indie game, or might even win best game of the year. But, like, they didn't, right? And I know they aren't funded by like a huge publisher where they're thinking about, return on investment in the first week. Because by the way, I have heard from some publishers that if they don't see the return on investment on some games in the first week, they just want to abandon it. A week.
Yikes.
Yeah. And bear in mind, that's basically what Netflix does with their TV shows. If a TV show or movie comes out that they've made and it doesn't get enough traction in the first week, they abandon it as a future franchise, right? I hate the modern way of thinking about video games, just entertainment in general. But I could go off for like 5 hours about movies and TV. My point is, I think we should celebrate these developers doing the right thing. Mafia the Old Country is getting a lot of positive talk. Price being one of them, although people complaining about not being able to swim in the game made no sense. But yeah, hey, the developers, they're doing cool stuff. And it's one of the reasons why, and Logan does this as well, like, we talk about AA games a lot, and it's like, sometimes you get a AAA experience, but you're not having to pay for the game with an arm and a leg, I talk about RoboCop Rogue City all the time, because it's a great game, solid value, and, it's essentially a AAA-centric game in a AA package. I just checked the price of the RoboCop. I'm calling it a sequel, Unfinished Business, and that's $29.99 in the UK. Which
Killer deal.
Yeah, great deal, full game. But yeah, I think we need to push these games that actually respect people more, and give, like, people complain about games and skins and stuff, but we talked about skins in a second. But the truth is, like, there's so much negativity in gaming at the minute. People just want to tear down games, but like, we should really celebrate the ones that are doing the right stuff. Yeah, it's fun to talk about, like, oh, this developer's messed up or whatever, or maybe this game, it's completely broken. But like, there's some absolute gems out there. And even, look, I'll put it out there, Silksong, it wasn't my cup of tea, just because I realized not long ago, I think these roguelite games just aren't for me. Just at all. So I'll cover them, but it's not for me. Like, hell, do you want to know how many times I've tried to play Hades and I just can't do it? Right? Critically acclaimed game, great gameplay, gorgeous game, but it's just not for me. And that's perfectly fine. Logan, have you got anything else to say before we move on?
Oh, just that I'm excited for Silksong. I particularly love these indie games lately because I feel like most of, not all, but a bunch of the creativity and ingenuity and like fun experiences come from these smaller teams now than the AAA ones. Like, I still love franchises and I still love, mega blockbusters and all that, but it has gotten to a point where it feels like a bunch of them are kind of the same, or just a little different. And it feels like the real creativity is mainly in these spots. Of course, AAA has the benefit, like, if they get creativity and they deliver something really crazy, like, they can absolutely blow your universe, like, with what they can do as a AAA. But these indies, I really like and respect them and the people that make them, and for the most part, they treat their fans well and interact. And it's like, you can just reach out to them and go, hey, would you think about, doing Play Anywhere or Cloud for this, or would you consider a port for this console or this kind of content? And they're like, oh, I hadn't thought of that, I'll consider that. Or, we had considered it, but for various reasons we weren't able to do it. Or, yes, we will make a sequel or a port. And like, they just seem to be better at treating people almost like Xbox used to, like with the execs and some of the other people back in the day. And now they're kind of just silent most of the time. But their social pages, like the main Xbox account and stuff, is still active. But like, these indie devs have that attitude now, and I really like it.
Yeah, hopefully we see more of that. For about an hour and 14 minutes in the show, for people listening, if you're enjoying it, please hit like, share, and subscribe. It really is appreciated. And considering we didn't have a show last week, the algorithm, it doesn't help me that much, especially after a week off. But liking really does help. I don't know why, but that's how it is. But if you enjoy the show, liking is appreciated, subscribing also is appreciated. I've got a lot of cool things planned for the channel. Also put out a video recently, which I'll talk about later. And also super chats are welcome, which supports the channel and all that stuff. Anyway, we still have literally like 10 topics. And by the way, I just saw in chat, Metal Gear Solid 5 turns 10 this week. Oof.
Wow.
Like, excuse me while I jump out the window. My God, 10 years. That's
Remember
bad.
the Red Hand Collector's Edition where it came with like the prosthetic hand thing? Yeah, man.
I tried to get that. I love Metal Gear, but it's sold out over here. That thing sold out super quick. But yeah, great gameplay though. You know what? We'll quickly talk about this because it's also in the title. So, Grand Theft Auto 6. This has been an enigma for basically a long time. There's rumors about it all the time, but I want to talk about it because I think, after thinking about it long and hard, I think it could be true. So, it came out that, and bear in mind, allegedly, Rockstar's been been working on some super advanced water tech for GTA 6, so the game will actually have, things like tsunamis, surfing, and that type of thing. Before we continue, we have a super chat by Nick the Horror. Sorry, I can't see the rest of his name for some reason. It's blocked out. Let me check. Sorry, I should have known this. Nick the Horror Game Fan. For some reason, it's only showing Nick. But thank you for the $1.99. He says, so many awesome indie and AA games these days. Yeah, I mean, look, we spend about 20 minutes each show talking about AA for a reason, because honestly, and I genuinely mean this, I think the AA space is way more interesting than AAA.
Yes.
There's way more risk with these AA developers. These AA developers come out working in indie games as well, but these games work day one. Right? You don't have to wait 6 months for
no yellow apology letters.
Yeah,
no
apology letters. No long lists of patch notes like a day after launch, right? Nothing like that, and they work, right? And I know there's millions of different variables of why these games do work day one, but I don't care, right? We're asked to spend our money day one on these games, whether they cost £20 or $70. They should work. I'm sick to death of games that don't work. Sick and tired of it. In fact, I think I'm losing hair over it. I'm not, but figuratively. But I'm at a point now where I see so many people refer to AAA games as slop. Whereas if you went back 10 years ago, I'd see a shocking amount of people talking about indie games as their lesser games, and AA games never got any limelight. Now people are looking at Expedition 33 and thinking, this is a AAA quality game in a AA wrapper, right? So Nick's right. AAA games, indie games, AA games and indie games, I'm all over the place today. Awesome. It's a better place to play games, and they're more interesting. Look, I complain that we don't see franchises games based on existing movie franchises. But you have the developers of the RoboCop game, who also made Terminator Resistance, which is a bloody good Terminator game. If anything, the best Terminator game. They clearly know how to adapt existing IP from movies. And, by the way, next month they're coming out with Terminator 2D No Fate. That game looks incredible. Logan, have you seen that one at all?
Yeah, that's a Terminator Contra mashup kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah, this AA developer are making a Terminator 2 Contra game, and it looks like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. It looks like something you'd have on the Mega Drive back in the day, but a Terminator 2 game, right? It looks super cool. But yeah, thanks Nick for the $2. I think that, and I implore people to do this, right? If you're like me, you go into the store and you see so much slop. And I'm calling AAA games slop because until they come out with games that work day one at a good price consistently, I will refer to them as slop. Uh, if you're ever wondering for a game to play, just search AA games or indie games of a genre you want, and I guarantee you'll find a gem that you've never heard of that you'll end up loving. Because I found so many games that way. I talk about Hard Space Shipbreaker on a weekly basis, but that is an indie game. It's an indie game made by a small team, and there's nothing else like it. And I will probably play that for years to come because it's just a fun, relaxing game. And you'd never see that from a AAA developer. But yeah, that's me ranting a bit. Back to GTA. The stuff came out about the water physics, and I used to think this is actually a fake rumor. But if you look at the amount of time that's gone into GTA, and they know there's this game day one is going to be judged off its campaign, right? Yes, the multiplayer is going to print money for the next decade, which is lovely. But I'm there for the story mode, and I think that the other rumor is that this is the longest GTA game to date. Because my problem, and this is why I've sounded so bitter about GTA, is because my worry is that I get GTA when it comes out next summer, hopefully. I put 30 hours into the story, and then I'm done, and I get no new content until GTA 7 in 2042. That's the worry. But the rumor is that the campaign is going to be 70 hours long. If you play Red Dead Redemption 2, right, and do some side stuff, do some experience and stuff, do some, hunting. The hunting in that game's fun. Just the exploration of that game. You can spend about 90 hours in that game, get through the story, and feel like you haven't really, I want to say wasted time or done bloat. That game doesn't have bloat. But I think that game being a 90-hour game is a good descriptor. So if they can do that with a Grand Theft Auto game where I have a car which I can drive around that has a radio on it, I'm so sold. Not on the $100 thing, but if that's what the game is day one, I will pay full $69.99. That's all I'll pay. Unless there's a cool collector's edition. Other than that, regular. Logan, what do you think about the whole surfing and tsunami mechanic? Do you think it's real?
This is the first I've heard of it, but to me it would seem to make sense, especially since you look at where they're setting this game. They're setting it in Florida, which
Yeah.
is heart of hurricane territory. You've got Bayou, which is going to have a ton of different types of water, and then you've got the beaches and surfing and partying and all kinds of I can totally see water being a huge emphasis in this one above other GTAs, frankly. And what do you think of the rumor about the I don't know if you've seen this one, but about there being potentially another secret protagonist or two, to where there's maybe 3 or 4 instead of just the main two.
It is Rockstar. I could see it happening. Um, the funny thing is we've had 2 trailers, and we've had, I want to say it's somewhere in the realm of 30 4K screenshots from the last trailer. But other than that, we know nothing, right? We know the name of the 2 main characters and some side characters. So I could totally say that. Um, if you play GTA 5, you have the 3 main characters, but if you hold down on the D-pad, that's your created character, and it takes you to multiplayer.
Mhm.
So, maybe they do something similar. Maybe there's a character which I can't see there being a created character in the story, just how good that game's going to look. But, I mean, I can see it happening. It is Rockstar, and, as salty as I might sound about their games, nobody makes games like them. I think that, if you go back to, I think Grand Theft Auto 2, there was 8 main characters. Obviously, you didn't have the story and stuff like this, but I mean, who knows? They could surprise us. I'd be shocked if we don't get a trailer by the end of the year. If that game is really coming out in May, which apparently it might move, If that game doesn't get a trailer by the end of the year, I think it's getting delayed, like 100%. I hope it doesn't though, because bloody hell, I haven't had. My God, we used to get GTA games every year. My God, we were so lucky. But yeah, that's Grand Theft Auto. We'll see what happens. You know what? This is actually something you want to talk about earlier on the show because it's actually a big topic, and that's Helldivers 2. So Helldivers 2 came out last week, and the official Xbox store doesn't really update its top sales for in between 4 to 6 days. So we haven't really been able to see how well it's done. People have done estimations on what they think the console may have sold. Sorry, the game may have sold on Xbox. And obviously, look, a lot of people can come out and say, "Oh, well, I knew it was going to sell well." It's a game where you shoot robots and aliens. It's a co-op game where you shoot robots and aliens, and it's third person, right? And it obviously, it basically sells people on that, Starship Troopers idea, with like the way democracy works and all that stuff, right? People like that stuff, especially in video games. So, like, it was obviously going to do well. I don't know why people felt so surprised. Like, come on, And plus, if you look at the live service space on Xbox, there isn't really a game like this. Not really. Like, you have the Starship Troopers video game. That game has problems. It has a lot of problems.
Hey, it got permanently reduced in price. It was announced today.
Did it? Wow. I mean,
interesting timing with Helldivers here. You have Starship Troopers and Starship Troopers at home, and at home is kicking their rear.
yeah. I mean, look, when I got the review code for Starship Troopers, there's a fun game there. Fighting those aliens, it's really cool, but it lacks the depth of just, I don't know, like it lacks. I hate using this term, but it lacks quality, right? The game. There's parts of that game that look like they use the Unreal Engine store. How you see these asset flip games, and
oh gosh,
they have Casper Van Dien like streaming the game on a weekly basis. Like, he's entertaining, but that game, it needed more time in the oven, and basically that game went into PC early access before Helldivers 2 was announced, and a lot of eyes were on this game, Starship Troopers, because like it's a first-person shooter Starship Troopers game. But there's no like overall world progress or galactic progress like Helldivers. But when Helldivers 2 came out, it basically killed that game. It really did. Like, why would you, like you said, Helldivers at home is basically Starship Troopers, but Helldivers 2 is basically Starship Troopers. So that game was never going to do well, but Helldivers, like, it has all the like the galactic progress thing alone. Like, Logan, you don't play multiplayer games, but you loving this game, right?
Oh yeah, it's a total blast. It's phenomenal. Like, I'm hooked.
Yeah, and like it's a game where you play with other people. Not typically your forte, but you're hooked. And it's like, I'm trying to see the Starship Troopers. Right, okay, like, let's go off this. So Starship Troopers post from August 15th, which is pinned, talks about how there's a critical strike mode, new fresh galactic front, deadlier battlefields than ever, and they have 289 likes. Right? Nothing to wave a stick at, but don't get me wrong, but their last post got 10 likes. Now, normally, I don't like using Twitter posts as a metric, but I'm just using it as an example. Now, if I go to Helldivers' Twitter account, right, their pinned post has, let me check. Oh my God, their Twitter account's barely loading. Excuse me one moment. Okay, for some reason their account. Okay, here we go. Right, their pinned Twitter post has 9.6 thousand likes, and their previous post, which was from 11 hours ago, has 7,000 likes. So, like, Starship Troopers, they had an uphill battle, but Helldivers, they're having a lot of success. And I think, if you're on Xbox and you want to play a co-op alien game like this, like, that's the game to play. It really is. Um, all the clips people are posting online are hilarious. You know, people are actually role playing as people in that world, which I think is really cool. Um, but like its success, like it's made a lot of people go, like, wait, what's going on? Oh, before I get into all that, I'll talk about its chart positions because I was talking about the chart stuff. So Starship Troopers in the UK is at number 1 and number 3 on the Xbox Store in the UK. I've seen posts today that in the US it's also number 1 and number 3. So like this game is doing really well, really well. And you know that studio, they're gonna see a lot of success from. They're gonna make bank off that game. Like I can only imagine how much money that ODST skin pack made. Like a War Bond, it's called, yeah. So like I think a
I
lot.
bought it, so there's 20 right there.
Yeah, I mean we talk about all the time how like like skins don't really offer much value, but like even I've looked at that ODST skin pack and got, you know what, maybe I should.
I felt different about it in this game because, like, we talk about, like, okay, really, $30 for a Beavis and Butthead skin or something,
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
a Ninja Turtle, or, what some random celebrity cameo in a game. But for this one, I felt it was worth it personally because, like, they didn't just do it right visually. Like, they went in and did, like, ODST armor and then like the alternate like ODST like recon type armor, and then like they did the full assault rifle from Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST, and the silenced suppressed SMG from ODST, and then the shotgun from Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST, and like did all these capes and abilities and armors, and like you can make the ship that you run back on to extract and stuff look like one from Halo. You can do that with your drop pod, make it an actual hell jumper pod instead of a hell diver. Like they go all in. Like it's not just a, oh, cool, I have cat ears now, or oh, my armor's red, or I look like this random, so it's like they added like progression and like a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people loving this, and I think that. By the way, it was weird seeing an ODST trailer on the PlayStation YouTube channel. I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, oh yeah,
Oh, and they have Gears as their header, by the way.
wow. Do you know what's funny? I did notice like the Helldivers banner is at the top of the YouTube page for Xbox. So like, hey,
Mhm.
dual marketing. Like I've seen all these posts, by the way. It's like, oh, the console war's over. Like, thank God, can we move on with it? Like they each have a game on different platforms. Can we move on? Can we celebrate it? You know, instead of seeing the endless barrage of crap we see online. Um, we have another super chat by Nick, the horror game fan, for $1.99. Thank you very much. By the way, he says, "What games do you think deserve to be remade?" That's a topic
A
in
lot.
itself. Honestly, the thing is, I'm a bit I'm a weirdo, right? I don't think that many 360 generation games need to be remade, other than Dragon Age Origins, because that game, wow, woof, that game looked awful when it came out, and I had that game day one, right? Super excited to play this dark fantasy RPG, and then you play it, and I was like, why does this look worse than Mass Effect? And Mass Effect came out 2 years ago, you know. Um, but no, seriously though, I think other games I'd like to see remade. Honestly, this is a one I've only thought about today. True crime. I'd like to see the true crime games remade because we don't really have much like that at the minute. Um, I think a lot of OG Xbox era games, or basically anything from the Nintendo 64. The top one for me, one of the top ones would be Star Wars Rogue Squadron. That game,
Oh yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
and especially the GameCube, the sequel. I never got to play the third game for some reason, but I would like to see those games remade, brought back. Logan, what do you think? What would you like to be remade?
Oh gosh, like, I could have an entire like 2 hour episode on this, but um, there's a lot. Like Eternal Darkness is one that
Oh
comes to
yeah,
mind. It just it's such a cult classic and just had such great ideas, like trying to make you think you're going nuts. Or your controller's disconnecting and you have to reconnect it into a different controller slot. Or your memory has been wiped, but not really, and like you're thinking these enemies are there but they're not. All kinds of crazy stuff in this game, and it was really unique story and gameplay. That one, the Suffering 1 and 2, Cold Fear is on my list, and that one I think it's going to be at this point, basically. um Several other OG Xbox PS2 era games, like let's see, Curse, The Eye of Isis, Obscure. Um, there was Call of Cthulhu that was actually made by Bethesda on the original Xbox, and I don't know why that one hasn't gotten a treatment at this point. If it was a Bethesda title, you would have thought they could have. But Arx Fatalis, which came out from, let's see, uh, the team that did Dishonored. I don't know why I'm blanking right now.
Arcane.
Arcane. Yes. It came from them. It was one of their first big games. It's a really, really cool, unique, dark magic game. And like they also did My Dark Messiah, which was really good as well. And like, I mean, I can go on. There's a ton of games. Basically, if you're a 90s FPS or a horror game or some cute mascot game from 20 years ago, I'll probably campaign for you to get a remake. It's just it's just what's going to happen.
Yeah, you know what I could name before we get on with the rest of the topics, and this is one which I don't know why it just occurred to me because I talk about it all the time. And even though I do think it can still look good, I think a remake would basically give the love that game deserves, and that's the Saboteur.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
That
and
song keeping it from being relisted or
yeah,
whatever.
oh god, and think that. So for people who don't know, the Saboteur is basically an open world World War II game set in Paris, and the whole world is black and white. But when you liberate certain areas, they become colorful again. And just it's such a cool story about obviously World War II Paris and the underground. But it's just such a cool game. It's basically half Grand Theft Auto and half Assassin's Creed, just like climbing up buildings and stuff and taking out enemies from a distance. And then there's that part where you have to fight blimps, the Zeppelins. So like that game, you know, does it still look good? Yeah, but like if they could bring it back, like hell, these 1-to-1 remakes, I'm completely fine for. Right? So like Metal Gear Solid 1-to-1, you don't need to change anything, right? Just keep it the same. Like Gears of War Reloaded or Ultimate Edition, it's literally the same game, but looks prettier, plays better. Right? That's all I really need. I don't need a complete overhaul like an RE2. I don't need. Although I'll say this, I would like a 1-to-1 remake of RE2. Right? I want to play the original on my Xbox. Maybe if it's all pretty again or whatever. But like that Mr. X stuff in RE2 that killed it for me. Right? I don't want to be chased by this thing perpetually throughout a part of the game. Like that game nearly gave me a panic attack, right? I was sweating playing that game. you know, as I've said before, I'm a scaredy cat with horror games. That nearly took me out. Not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, thanks for the 199, Nick. A lot of games, basically. A lot of OG Xbox. I would like to see Splinter Cell get remade because I might as well wish for it since that's never happening. But yeah, Helldivers 2. Look, they've had a lot of success with it. It's going to do really well. It's going to look when they have sales and stuff. It's going to pop off even more. And if the rumors are true that it sold 600,000 copies. Bloody good on them. Arrowhead, they have a huge hit. Nixus, people love the port. Apparently, the Xbox Series S version runs really well. Apparently, they might do split screen in the future, which I know, Logan, you want.
Yes, I would be for it. I'm still frankly pissed that Halo Infinite abandoned that and never brought it back. I know there's only like a dozen of us, but
Yeah.
it still meant something to me.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I'm one of those people. I still want photo mode in Gears 5.
Hey, yeah, they never gave it to us, and
Yeah.
they said they would.
Yeah. For some reason, never got it. Don't know why.
Rod Ferguson's had 2 jobs since then, and
Yeah.
we still.
Yeah, he took photo mode with him. But yeah, I think look, there's people obviously going to listen to this and see other people's reactions online. I'm like, look, if you go back a year ago when Microsoft started announcing the multi-platform stuff, people were acting like it was the end of the world, right? People, like, there was genuine people I've spoke to on a daily basis online for about a decade, completely stopped talking to me, right? Completely disappeared. Didn't really say anything bad. Just just stop speaking because some people took what happened to heart. There are people that doing these like huge I don't want to say announcements online that saying that they are selling their Xbox and getting rid of their whole library because of this, and then like Sony start doing this now, and they're clearly seeing some huge success from it. It's like, look, I am a fan of Xbox because of the platform, because of the community, the features, like everything about it, right? The games, that's just a part of it, right? And it's the same with PlayStation. Look, do you know everyone I know in real life that games on PlayStation, they don't care about this stuff. They don't care. Can they play the games they enjoy on the console? Nice. That's when you move on. But there's so many people that take this stuff to heart, and it's like the Helldivers stuff today. Early today on Boom's channel, there were people in chat that were genuinely arguing and like negative about this. It's like a game is doing well, right? We hear all the time about developers being shut down, games getting cancelled. Like, how many small Arrowhead-sized studios have shut down in the past 5 years? Couple of dozen, if that, right? And you have this game, it's doing well, and yeah, Sony's probably going to bring more games over. Why wouldn't you? And I used this term earlier today, and it made some people angry, but if you have something like Spider-Man, which is sitting on a server somewhere, and yes, it's selling well, but like these games, they launch with a bell curve, right? They launch, they have their max amount of sales, this is most of the time, basically in the first few days to a week, and then it's the bottom end of the bell curve, right? You have less and less sales as time go on. You have these spikes when there's sales, but like that's just how gaming is, right? If they put Helldivers on Switch, my God, right? It's gonna sell amazing because there isn't a game anything like that on the Switch, as far as I know, right? So if you put something like Spider-Man on Xbox, where guess what, we don't have any new open world superhero games. The last one we had was Suicide Squad. And it annoys me that you can't do melee moves in that game, which is a weird direction. But look, people do buy games. Yeah, Xbox gamers, they showed up. They bought the game. And Helldivers 2, reasonably priced, right? I can't say that Helldivers cost more or less than it should. It was a great price, right? It was marketed well. They had a marketing campaign for it, right? Which people know about. They're doing the header thing at the top of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads. They're all posting about, Helldivers, right? Cool marketing campaign, using viral posts, doing the ODST thing, which really made it pop off as well, right? They treated it well. So like if you Sony and you look at these sales and you look at it compared to a multi-million-dollar marketing campaign like what that game got last year at launch, you have to look and think, why don't we release more games this exact same way, right? Because guess what? Gears of War on PlayStation last month, I can guarantee that sold a lot, right? A third-person gritty shooter like that, of course it's going to do well, right? It's narrative-driven, it's a fun game, great game. So like, if you're Sony, you have to wonder, how much money can we really make off this fan base? You're going to have people online losing their marbles day one. the second it's announced, saying they're done with the company. They really aren't. What they're doing is they take a picture of the console in an empty bin, an empty clean bin, uh, and then they take the console out, put it back in the TV space, and they post a picture online for likes. That's what it is, right? At the end of the day, these corporations, they just care about the bottom line, but it also kind of benefits us because if more games go elsewhere, everyone wins, right? So hey, I think they are going to move more games over. Hell, what do you call it? Lego Horizon Adventures that went to Switch last year at the same time as PlayStation. So I don't know what to say. I do think either Spider-Man or Days Gone will be the next game. And people keep saying it's just live service games. Sony doesn't have any other live service games. Like they don't.
Not aren't canceled.
Yeah, no, that aren't cancelled. Like fair games, we're not really going to talk about that stuff. But like fair games, like we don't know what that's going to be like. Marathon, look, Bungie isn't the Bungie we used to love. We don't know what the hell and like I'm one of the nerds on Twitter and on here that I was pushing Marathon. I want Marathon to be great until I realized that maybe I don't like extraction games. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. If you're Sony, you really have to wonder, what if we put more games over there? By the way, I don't think they're going to be like, okay, God of War Egypt or whatever they're going to have it set or called. Like, I don't think that's going to be a day one game. Like, no, I don't think The Last of Us 3 is going to be a day one game. But like, why not put Spider-Man on Xbox? These games are costing hundreds of millions of dollars. Why not? Trying to think of another game. Hell, they could do compilations of games, right? What about the original God of War trilogy? Hell, throw in Ascension there as well. A remaster collection of God of War games, Killzone games. Why not? The Resistance trilogy. Put those in a fancy collection, 4K 60, slap it on Xbox and PlayStation and Switch. You're golden. I 100% think this is going to lead to more games. And in the end, they do make a lot of money, but hell, we get more games. Everyone wins. Logan, what's your take? Because I think a lot of people see it happening.
Yeah, I think more are coming. I think this was going to be a test, and I think it has passed with flying colors. When you have literally two versions of the same game in the top three, for retail for that console on launch, and you're breaking all-time concurrent numbers and engagement and all this across the spectrum, and you know how there was some concern how the community would treat new players, and turns out it's been overwhelmingly positive. Like,
Yeah.
you got higher level players jumping in and helping carry less new players and teaching them how to do stuff and giving them gear and stuff, and it's been a really great story. And for the other games, like, I think Spider-Man is a no-brainer, and I think that one makes a ton of sense. And you remember the Insomniac leak a few years ago?
Oh yeah.
Um in that leak there was, some stuff that talked about, like, supposed, we'll say it that way, licensing fees and stuff to, like, the companies that own the rights
Oh
to
yeah. Yeah.
Spider-Man and other things involved. And boy, those companies get their pound of flesh.
Yeah.
Just put it that
Oh
way.
yeah.
Like, it is not a small little $5 handshake deal to go, hey, can I make a Spider-Man game? And Disney's like, yeah, sure, buddy. It costs a ton of money. And that's on top of, okay, you've got that just as a heavyweight anchor on a game before you even get started on the other developmental costs of the game. So you've already got your pound of flesh you got to give Disney or Marvel or whoever for this license, and then all the other stuff to make even on the other stuff. Like, this game's just sitting there, it's done. Why not make have you have a great studio, Nixus? who did a phenomenal job with the Helldivers port and with their PC ports. Just have them crank out a Spider-Man port or a Days Gone port or some of these other, like you mentioned, Resistance or Infamous or Killzone or Ratchet and Clank. Returnal, I mean, that didn't set the world on fire sales wise, even though it was really good. And it's frankly my favorite PlayStation exclusive of this gen, to be honest. Like, I I totally think more are coming. And I think it will be sooner than later than some people would believe.
Yeah. I saw a good shout in chat, and that's by Joe. He mentioned Bloodborne and Gravity Rush.
I have no idea why FromSoft doesn't want money.
Yeah,
Like everybody wants upper frames and a PC port at the very least.
yeah. I
It
mean, look,
makes no sense.
personally, I think I gravitate more towards Gravity Rush. I think that game looks cool. If I remember correctly,
I love Gravity Rush.
didn't that start out as a Vita game?
Yeah, it was a Vita game, and then they remastered it for the PS4, and then it was really good, and people loved it, even though it didn't sell that great. But they still went ahead and did a second one, which is phenomenal, and ends on a big, like, I don't know if cliffhanger's the right word, but ends in a spot where you're left questioning some things, and we're just not gonna get a third one. And it's a real just punk move.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, hell, if they want to bring those over, I'd be happy. Like, look, like you said, Bloodborne would print. There's so many people on PC alone that have been begging for this game because, like, I think it is weird that you kind of look back at in history and you know why they did it, but like, From Software doing exclusive games, considering they know how big their games can be, you know, because like, but the reason we got Dark Souls was basically because Sony didn't want to do another exclusive, considering Demon Souls didn't do that well. So Dark Souls went to everything, did really bloody well, and they did Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, which, my God, masterpiece. Um, but yeah, Bloodborne, weird. It's stuck there. Um, I think we could basically see anything happen. But yeah, I think for me personally, I think it's either going to be Spider-Man or Days Gone. I keep saying Days Gone a lot because like that is one of the big ports Nix's software did, and like it's an open world zombie game, right? There's a lot of people that like zombie games. Like one Spider-Man, yeah, it's going to sell it anyway. But like an open world zombie game like that, where you play as a biker, yeah, it's going to do well on Xbox. Although I will say this, and I'm guessing Sony's paid attention to this, like looking at how Death Stranding did, looking at how well their own games doing, like Helldivers, right? Price, right? These companies, back to our earlier topic, they need to come out with these ports at reasonable prices, because there's a lot of times in the past where we will see later ports, and sometimes they aren't cheaper. And I think that is a hilariously bad move, which I don't know why companies do this. Like, hell, do you know Baldur's Gate 3 in the UK is like £57? Right? Like, I don't know how that's a thing. I don't get that. But
Oh, and the collector's edition isn't much either.
yeah,
And it comes with so much stuff.
but look, I think Sony, they're gonna have huge success with it. And look, we may never get the final sales numbers. But hey, we'll see. You know what? This isn't a topic, but I thought we'll talk about it briefly because I think it's going to happen in the US. And I've been asked a bunch by people about this age verification. Um, I have to be very careful about how I word things, so I'm dodging a minefield at the minute. Because I live in the UK and I'll probably get arrested for posting a meme. The scary thing is that's true. I could legit get arrested for posting a meme. So yeah. What?
Scary stuff,
Yeah.
my friend.
It's like, what are you in for? Oh, I posted a meme about a video game. Um, I'll say no more about that. But anyway, the age verification stuff. So I've been asked, there's a lot of people seem really confused by it because some places aren't really reporting it correctly. So, and one of the questions was, will GTA be require age verification? As of now, the way age verification works, and I know some states, I think in the US, are doing this, where you're still going to be able to access games, you're still going to be able to buy your games, but the age verification is to use social features such as chat, voice messaging, all that stuff. But like playing
Okay.
your own games, buying games, as of now, you don't need to do the age verification thing, which that's some silver lining. Like I try to look at the positive side of things, um, but I think, yeah. Oh god, yeah. We need to calm down the talk about the 5th of November. like, let's not joke about that stuff because the state of the UK government is a joke. Anyway, my god, I could go off any second really. But yeah, the age verification stuff's annoying. It really is. It's impacting gaming. It's rolled out to Steam. By the way, a few people have messaged me saying I'm done with Xbox because of this. It's like, no. All of these companies are required to do it by January. I think it's January 17th or something like that. But all these companies have to have this done by January. So Steam, they've already activated it, right? And if you've seen some of the games that are on Steam, like I can't say
I
what's
don't know how they were on there to begin
yeah,
with.
no idea how those games were there, and I can't say what's in them, but like wow, but like age verification is a thing on Steam now in the UK. It's gonna roll out to what's gonna have to roll out to PlayStation, Nintendo very soon. But your purchases and you being able to play Grand Theft Auto, as of now, won't be affected. So that's something. Just thought I'd mention it because nobody's really talking about it. Logan, by the way, what do you think of the whole age verification thing? And before you go on with it, I want to say this for people in chat that didn't see this. I got the Microsoft email a couple of days ago saying, I am required to do the age verification thing with Microsoft services also on Xbox because, I need to prove my age, right? And who I am. Do you know the email I use for gaming is 21 years old?
It's older than their request, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, my 21-year-old email, like, I made this email when I was a wee lad at school, right? It was my first email I made, right? And I've just had it since, right? Not, it's my casual email, not my business email, but, like, it's what I just use, right? And I burst out laughing because there's a former Forza developer that follows me, and he got the same message, and he worked for Microsoft. I just think it's funny. But yeah, Logan, what do you think about the whole age verification thing? Because it's bloody annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, it's odd one because like theoretically I can understand why like they would want to do something like that, keep certain things away from people who are too young for certain content, stuff like that. Like I get it from that standpoint. But, for people who have clearly demonstrated or shown that they're of a certain age or they, have a long established track record with a brand or this or that, it kind of it's goofy. And it it's just interesting because you've got all this, and then like you have states and stuff over here now going after specific companies like Roblox, for example, which is a whole nother topic. But just like because you brought up age verification, it just reminded me of
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
But there's there's just like a whole bunch of just people concerned about how far things are going to go. Like, is this going to be to where, the credit card companies are like, we don't really like this genre, so you're just not going to buy it. or you can't subscribe to this, or you can't watch this or do that. It's just it becomes more control, and people in general don't like control
Yeah.
being taken away. And who blames them, frankly?
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it on with gaming. Like, do you know, like, for people that don't know, that obviously this channel's covering Xbox, right? And I needed a PC centric, like, advice the other day, because as much as I know about consoles and upcoming console tech and all that stuff, when it comes to PCs, I'll admit I know nothing, right? Diddly squat, nada, zip, nothing, right? So, like, I do what I normally do. I go to a search engine, I type in something I need to know, and boom, there you go. It's usually a Reddit post. And I know people make fun of Redditors, but let's just say it's always a Reddit page that helps me every single time.
Oh, they cover everything you could possibly ever imagine.
Yeah, everything. And I needed to know something about RAM, basically. And within seconds, I found a post, right? And it was the exact thing I needed to know. And I hit on the link, and do you know what happened? I needed an age verification sign in for my Reddit account, simply because I wanted to see a post about RAM. How scary is that? Like, what is, like, me, British citizen, gonna do with some scary RAM knowledge, right? It's like, I'm just wondering what to think. What I should
You
be.
have too much memory. He's
Yeah,
too dangerous.
like, I mean, it's getting to that point. But yeah, it's just silly, man. Hopefully it all gets overturned at some point because it's just stupid. But yeah, thought I'd mention that quickly. We still have a few things to talk about, which we'll go over. So this thing was controversial, and I know I might get some crap for this, but screw it. So, Black Ops 7 is, they are removing, or should I say, with the game coming out later this year, they are no longer going to do out-of-universe skins that don't suit the narrative of the universe, right? And, because Battlefield's just around the corner, it's super realistic looking, military theme, obviously. But with Black Ops and Call of Duty, for the longest time, you have skins that people talk about crap on a daily basis, but within reason, Like the Beavis and Butthead skins, I think are the ones that send people over the edge, right? You have people walking around a very realistic map, and they are Beavis and Butthead. They are cel-shaded Beavis and Butthead walking around the map, and it's like, really? Like, although I will say this, if you play Warzone, they stick out like a sore thumb. It's amazing. But, like, you're running around this, like, warfield, or, like, the circle's getting close in Warzone, and you have Nicki Minaj run across the field. Like, it is a bit weird, It isn't in universe. But anyway, so the announcement came from and bear in mind, in my entire time of playing Call of Duty and following Activision, they've never once done this, right? They caved to people. So basically, they came out and said, "Look, we've heard your concerns. We're gonna try and keep skins basically in universe or in universe looking, right? Which I'm completely fine for, right? It is a bit weird. Like, look, you can have an Ana de Armas skin from the ballerina, right? And she's running around in this, I don't know what you call it, like a shiny red sequin dress, right? The target sticks out from a mile away, but you also have the combat gear from later on in the film where she's wearing the black coat and stuff, right? That looks perfectly fine in universe. Oh, my screen just went completely black. If people can hear me, just type something in chat, because I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so they're gonna have in-universe skins, no more Beavis and Butthead, no American Dad stuff, just stuff like that. And the controversial thing for me is that they are saying that basically all of the skins you earn to this point, and guns and weapons, you won't be able to use them in Black Ops 7. And I think them caving that way is a hilariously bad move, and here's why. These games are supported basically by microtransactions. You know, the skin packs and the stuff you earn in the battle passes, right? The guns, right? The gun that I use, the Kilo in Warzone, I can't have that taken away from me, right? Like I'll cry myself to sleep at night. Like that's what I need to use, right? So like for me, I think them basically caving to Battlefield fans, which are just hating on COD, right? So like them sticking to in-universe looking skins going forward, I think's great. But them saying that you can't use the stuff you've already earned is a bad move. Um, the good news is that not Battlefield, Activision, they are listening to feedback and they clearly shown it, which we've never seen from Activision before. But yeah, that's just my take on it. Because look, let's say you did buy that £30 Ana de Armas skin from, the ballerina. That's a £30 Ana de Armas skin from the ballerina, which you can't use in Black Ops 7. Like, and they've told their entire fan base at that point that maybe the skins that you want to buy in the future, maybe they won't work in future games. But yeah, if you fire up Fortnite, you can play and use a skin that you got the first year that came out. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, Logan, what do you think? I know you don't play Call of Duty multiplayer, but like, what's your take on the whole skin situation?
Um, to me, it's a not a black white thing. It's kind of a mixed bag. Like on one hand, I get people being pissed. Like if they had spent all this money and shelled out all this stuff for all these skins and weapons and other things, and then they can't carry them over when they have, historically been able to, all of a sudden just told, yeah, nah, that's not happening. Pack it up. Like I get them being mad. I I get it. On the other hand, for people who like the tradition, who yearn for the old traditional experience or are new to the thing and kind of, were looking for a more grounded military look and vibe and stuff, it was very distracting and it got like immersion breaking and just it just felt off. Like there are some things that some like I remember there was a Lara Croft one at one point in like one of the Call of Duties and she looked like she fit in cuz she just had like a jacket, a tank and some cargo pants or something. It's like, yeah, you look like a field agent. Like that's not a big deal. Well, but it's like the cell shaded crazy stuff. But like on one hand it is capitulating to some angry people, some of which may not be good faith, some are. On the other hand, it is listening to people, which is not something Activision has done a lot of, period.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think it's mostly a good thing
Mm.
that they're doing away with that. Give it a reset. And we talked and made a joke about, Starship Troopers and Starship Troopers at home earlier, but like quit trying to be Fortnite. You're not Fortnite. You're not that guy, pal. Like Fortnite is its own kind of entity and experience and extravaganza. And Call of Duty was here before that and it can stay. It just needs to adapt in a different way because it's just not that. It's not Fortnite. No matter how much they want to try, it's just not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've got a point. I think, like, look, I don't play Fortnite. Like, it's never really been my cup of tea. But like, the
I have never played it ever.
really okay, I don't think you'd like it.
No, never. I've never booted it up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
run around in that game and like you think I see a target over that hill, and then you walk over that hill and that person is building a tower around themselves, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? I know they have a zero build mode, but come on. Um, But that game, yeah, Call of Duty really did want to be Fortnite. You know, you had Terminator skins. All of the Terminator skin, you can't see that thing when it moves. So like, a lot of people bought. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I got to a point at the end of the battle pass where I was basically done with it. I was thinking, should I buy this Terminator skin? Because I need every little bit of help I can get, I should say. Because like, if someone has that Terminator skin on, you can't see them when they move. You just can't. Um, but yeah, I mean, look, and bear in mind, I play Warzone. Apparently, this won't be affected in Warzone, which for me, thank God, my precious kilo, that won't be affected, which is great. But like, if I have to dabble in regular multiplayer and I don't have my trusted what's it called, truth serum, that's a gun I use in regular multiplayer. Like, that is a cool looking gun. It doesn't look super sci-fi. I think it's based on something in real life, and it's like, why wouldn't I be able to use that in Black Ops 7? Black Ops 7 is set in the same universe as Black Ops, so why not? I don't know. But yeah, my opinion's kind of all over the place with it because it's good and bad news. But I will say this though, I do think, you know, they can still have themed things as skins. So like, when they eventually have a new John Wick skin, right? Maybe it could be John Wick, but maybe in some military gear or something. You know, they don't have to have this one-to-one skin for a real life thing. You know, Homelander, right? I don't know how many different ways you could do Homelander, but Homelander skin, clearly popular in Warzone. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some variants we can do, but hey, we'll see what happens. Um, oh, you know what? We'll talk about this quickly. So, since the last show, PlayStation decided to raise the price of their consoles, which surprised me in the US. Didn't see that happening. Because, you know, the US is the largest gaming market. So, like, after what I've talked about in, like, previous shows, like, yeah, UK and Europe, Australia, basically everywhere outside the US, I kind of got, like, these companies have been doing it since, it was one of the VR headsets by Oculus, where they just randomly raised the price $100 one day. But yeah, so the PlayStation 5 has gone up to $549.99. The digital edition of the PlayStation 5 is $499.99, and the PlayStation 5 Pro is was it? Yeah, $749.99. Ooh,
Yeesh.
that is. Can you believe we're at a point where a home console costs $750? That's crazy.
It's basically what the 3DO was when it first launched back in the day, but which was insanity at that time period.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's insane.
yeah. I mean, I know like Microsoft, they've already raised the prices. They've both done it twice now. Um, I just think it's funny how, like, you know, we used to get, here we go, a trip down memory lane again. Like, I remember when the 360 came out. A year later, it was half price.
Hmm.
And you know, the PlayStation 3, that dropped slowly in price because, you know, basically, you know, it being a cell chip, shall I say. Um, you know, that dropped decent amount of price over time, but like, this is like ridiculous. And like, Nintendo, they raised the price of the Switch 1. Crazy, crazy. Um, but yeah, I mean, the state of the gaming space at the minute, like, I'm not doing the whole tariff thing. Nope, I'm not blaming tariffs. That it's not tariffs, because it's happened before the tariffs as well. But yeah, I think it's just silly, man. Like, Logan, like, you have to admit the state of console prices at the minute, and it has been for 4 years now. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, it is a joke. It's a sick joke, and like I even, shared a post from, I think it was Video Game History or something. It's a big account I follow where they post cool artwork and old stuff all the time from gaming back in the day. And like they had a chart up that compared launch price to end of life cycle price for all these generations, and then to now is the first generation that, you know, it much has been made of it, and it is true that this is the first generation that the price has gone up consistently over the generation instead of plummeted. Like I remember during the 360 gen when the red ring of death was hitting most people, and I had to replace mine. And at one point, I remember I was able to get like that slim, super sleek black
Oh yeah.
360, super shiny, and it came with two full games and controllers, and it was like 250 gigabytes or something in memory or
Yeah.
something like that, which I thought was insane at the time, which is now basically two Call of Duty games,
Yeah.
but um which is just gross to think about. But yeah, like I got that for like a couple hundred or like 100 or so or something. It wasn't very much. And that was towards the end of the cycle. And like comparing that now where you get this is the first generation where early bird got the worm and saved money in hindsight instead of being an early adopter getting screwed over and should have waited and
Yeah.
gotten it way on sale with all the upgrades and all the
Yeah.
games and accessories. Now, if you were one of the few people who managed to beat the scalpers or even gave in to the scalpers at this point, you probably got a better deal in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my 360 Elite. Uh, I think I got that for, I want to say 199. But it came with 3 games. It came with 3 games, an extra controller, and 3 months of Xbox Live Gold. Right, and like to me, I was like, this is amazing. That was the 120 gigabyte model. Where at the time I was like, I will never fill this with games. This is unlimited storage. It's amazing. Found out the hard way. And like you said, the elites, like, or sorry, not elites, the slims, like my slim, it came with, I'm 90% sure it came with Lego Star Wars, I think, and a Need for Speed game, right? And I think that cost 149, and with 250 gigabytes of storage. But like now it's ridiculous. Like the era of slims, it's clearly not a thing. Like the PlayStation 5 Slim, it's not that much different in size, but like slims used to be a considerable difference in size and price. Oh, we're releasing a brand
I
new
remember the PS2 Slim
Yeah, like
was crazy.
I have the PS2 and PS3 Slim. Like those were significantly different and cheaper. It's crazy. It just blows my mind, man. Um, this isn't going back to earlier in the show where I'm talking about the state of the industry again, but it's crazy because we're hearing that the next gen Xbox, it's going to be bloody powerful, but you have some detractors and outlets out there talking about how it's going to be double the price of a PlayStation 6 based on nothing, by the way.
$1,400 would be dead on arrival
Yeah,
if they tried that.
yeah, like that's not going to happen. Like Phil Spencer's came out and said, like, look, these consoles, next gen or whenever, they can't cost too much, and like we're just finding out now that these consoles, they kind of have to be expensive. By the way, I'm still on the team of these consoles should be 500. Like, I will not budge from this hill. Right, they should be 500, not a penny more. Um, but yeah, it's just a weird state. Like, look, I think the next Xbox is going to be super powerful. We're going to see some cool tech from it. But man, do you know what? It's funny. Like covering gaming, it's fun. Covering hardware, it's even more fun because it's super exciting and stuff. But one of the creative directors from I think it was Final Fantasy VII Remake was talking about recently how he was asked, "Are you excited about the new hardware that's coming next year or the year after?" And he said, "I think we're okay with the hardware we have now. We just need the games." And it's like that's bloody nail on the head,
I
isn't it?
agree.
Yeah, like I'm gonna cover the next gen Xbox and whatever, right? But like he is right, right? This generation, it's been weird. hasn't it? Like, we are 5 years into the generation nearly, and we can all sit here and say, like, it's been odd. That first year, a lot of games got delayed. And hell, games are still getting delayed. Games are taking 1 or 2 year or 3 years extra than previous generation games. Like, so I don't know. I just think the state of gaming at the minute is a bit worrisome. Price isn't just a factor, but like, my God, you know. Logan, have you got anything else to say before we move on to the last topic?
No, except just to reiterate that, like, I've said it a ton on this show. I'll say it again. It feels like this has largely been a 1.5 of last gen.
Yeah.
It just, I really hope they, really bring the boom next gen, because I mean, maybe we're gonna get to a point where it is just incremental upgrades or updates here and there, like a PC. And if that is, so be it. But I just I yearn for that super excited like Christmas feeling when you got something and you jumped from you know um 8-bit to 16-bit to 32-bit to you know 3D with N64 PS1 to all this other stuff. It just I miss that.
Yeah. I think we have to realize we aren't going to have that again, which is sad. Because like I remember getting my 360 and I was just blown away. Like that was a big jump.
Oblivion
Yeah,
blew
Oblivion.
my
Like yes,
mind.
I complain about the painted grass, but like there was no open world game like that ever before. Like hell, the jump from PlayStation 1 and N64 to OG Xbox and PS2. My God, like can you remember how like in the original PlayStation days and N64 days, clothes on characters was essentially just paint, and then
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII.
yeah,
It was just like these triangle dress and
yeah.
like.
And then like with
Oh,
the further generation or the generation after that, like characters were wearing 3D clothes. That was my big take from that generation. Like, oh yeah, the characters are wearing clothes that are 3D and they are clothes, not paint. Um, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna ever have that jump ever again, unless we have a holodeck, which, my God, that needs to be a thing. Um, but yeah, and, we'll end it off quickly with this. So, Forza Horizon 6 has been rumored for a while now, and Tokyo Game Show is just around the corner. It's in a couple of weeks. And the rumor mill is that Tokyo Game Show will feature the announcement of Forza Horizon 6, which will be set in Japan. Apparently, people from Microsoft have been seen with people from Nissan. So, I mean, if there's any proof to saying that's true, that'll be it. People have been wanting Forza Horizon to be set in Japan for a very long time. But it will also have to be a different kind of Forza game, because if it is going to be set in Japan, are they going to have cities? Are they going to feature drifting? My God, please feature drifting in cars with neon lights underneath, right?
the Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Yes.
let's be honest, that's what people want, right? We want Tokyo Drift, the game, right? We want Tokyo Drift, the game, but we also want Need for Speed Underground cosmetics. Boom, game of the century. But look, we've had this rumor mill time and time again. This time I actually believe it just because of the Nissan stuff. Logan, do you think this is actually happening?
Yes. And I think it's happening because the stuff that's coming out linking it to Japan is not the kind of stuff that is like the oh my uncle works at Nintendo kind of rumor nonsense like we used to get about this. It's like legit car companies with licensing deals talking about the next installment. Other, industry people talking about, leaked builds of this or that, or, talking about time slots and this debuting at a Tokyo Game Show for the Tokyo experience. It totally makes sense, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to bring it with, Forza Horizon 6 Tokyo at the Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's true. I think it'll be interesting. But like, if we are gonna have cities like this in a Forza game, I just hope it's done right. Because my God, like Tokyo is beautiful, right? If we can have that in the game,
Oh, it's gorgeous.
yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
happy. Hopefully, I am wanting to go there this year. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, everyone in chat has been amazing. Logan, it's been great talking to you once again. We actually went over the 2 hour mark. We had 2 hours, 25 minutes, which is a first. So I apologize for people if we've been a bit over, the 2 hour length, but we had to get these 21 topics. By the way, we got to about 18 of them. So we'll save some for next week. But yeah, thanks for everyone in chat. Again, sharing it, liking it. It really is appreciated. It does help the channel grow and the podcast grow. Also, I put out a video yesterday of the 20 biggest new games coming to Xbox Series X and S in September 2025. It's there's a lot of games there people don't really know about, and I think a lot of people like. The link to that is in the description down below. It was the last video I put out. But yeah, other than that, we'll be back for a new episode next week. There's a small chance I'll be able to live stream the 007 first. Bloody hell, I'm all over the place today. The 007 first light event tomorrow. I think I'll have to check. I think that's at 7 a.m. Eastern. So if I can live stream that, it'll be on. You can watch with me, talk about it afterwards, all that stuff. But anyway, I'll post updates on that online. Anyway, hope everyone had a good time. We're out, everybody. Peace. And